Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy, and I guess this is just going to be about me and kind of my journey through spirituality, law of attraction, trying to do the hokey pokey and turn myself around. So I'm gonna share it. Screw it. I've got a hard time being vulnerable and opening up. So punch fear in the face. Go get him, tiger. That's where I'm at. Doing the damn thing. I like to help people. And this is a way that I felt very passionate. I'm gonna start out with saying today is April 3rd, 2022. As of the first week of March, I'll say March 7th, 8th, 9th, I wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself. It's been hard. The last couple of years have been a challenge. I'll say my whole life has been more difficult than I wanted it to be. I've always been an optimistic person, and I've always just smiled despite what's going on because I believe that, that's the way you turn yourself around. Um, I'm an addict, and I will, I'm been through addiction, still going through it. I don't believe we ever really get to the other side of it. But there are ways to better ourselves and better handle our brains and monkey minds and stuff. And, I've done AA and NA and CODA and these meetings, and I've found much hope and energy in those meetings, and there's definitely higher energy there. And I still attend every now and then, and because they are helpful and they are a tool that I utilize. With that said, they didn't have all of everything that I needed. There are things that I believe are kind of negative sides to it. For me, it's been like that. If other people find it to be useful and helpful, that's amazing. I'm not dissing that. It changes people's lives. So clearly it works for some people. It didn't work enough for me. I'm someone who clings to everything people say, and if they said it, it must be true. I don't know. I guess it came from my childhood because my mom and dad always knew what was best for me, and if I stepped out of line, then it usually wasn't good for me, because my parents had the wrath of my parents and consequences and stuff. I don't look my best today, but I don't care anymore. That's where I'm at the same sense of not really caring anymore. I still believe in self-care and showering. It's just something I haven't done in a couple days. I just don't believe in showering every day because I believe it strips your body of natural things. But with that, I think that water is very cleansing, and I still, I guess I still at least bathe once a day, whether I take a bath or something, because the water is very cleansing for me and everybody with my spirit and all of my insides. Yeah, so I've had a long journey in the last couple of years. Last 2 years ago, March 22nd, 2020, I lost my brother. His wife shot him and killed him. She's not been prosecuted. She probably won't be prosecuted, which bothers me. But it's something I'm accepting. This is just the world we live in right now, and maybe I'll get to a point where I stand up for what I believe in and try to do something around that. I don't know. Right now, I'm just focusing on me, turning myself around, because that's where I'm at. I know that I do have passions that I am starting to get back in touch with, and things of nature and things of that nature. I am passionate about nature, though. Also, I, true crime and the police and certain things like that are kind of a passion of mine as well. But for now, I'm, not diving into that too much. I'm getting into me and my spirituality and what can I do in that area right now, because that's where I'm lacking. Doing the hokey pokey, changing my thoughts around my brain. That's where all this comes from. And I've learned I don't know when I learned. I guess really recently it sunk in, okay? And it like our conscience can heal our body. Like our brains can heal our body, or our conscience, the thing you can't see, can heal your body. So like we're all dead set on our senses, our five senses. If we can see it, feel it, hear it, touch it, smell it, it must be true. It must be real. And if we can't, then it's not real. Um, and so that to me is like, I heard someone say, like, air. You can't see that, but we know that it's there because we need it to breathe. So we believe in that. But like, how many other things are out there that we don't know about, that we can't see? That's my thing, is like, there's these things that we didn't know about at one point, but now we do know about them. And it's like, how many more of those are there? There's so much of our brain that we don't use that, like, I'm so, like, gives me hope of, like, if there's so much of my brain that's not used, then there's so much that's not discovered. And we're all here for a purpose. And I firmly believe that. I will never, no one's me. I am me. And like, no one's done in this world what I was set here to do. So I may not have any idea what that is yet, but with that knowledge, it gives me hope and faith that, like, if I stick to me and my authentic me and not try to use drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, weed, anything, shopping, eating, all the things, relationships, oh my gosh, to get away from my own feelings and focus on that instead. I don't want to feel, so what can I do to get away from this right now? Even in this journey, I find myself being like, oh my gosh, I am not feeling my best right now. What can I do to get better? And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll take the steps to get myself better, but just because, there's not always something I can do. I may have done all the things that I can do, and then with that, I sit and feel the feelings. Is always part of this process I'm learning. Sit with the feelings. Don't run from them. This is the step towards bettering me. The more I stuff my feelings, the less I'm getting to my purpose and my authentic self. It's not always easy. There's a lot of times, especially with me, and I believe a lot of people in our society, we have grown just detached from the emotional person because life is hard. People are mean. And I remember when I was little and growing up, I was the person who was like, love, kindness, compassion, like all around me. Let's make everybody happy. This is gonna be great. Why are you upset? Let's just be happy. And like, I could never find people. Like, I've always been someone who wants to know, like, your journey. There's reasons why you're acting this way. I just kind of knew these things. Like, I just felt it within me. And growing up in my environment where I was told, don't trust yourself, you don't know better. What the hell do you know? You're just a child. And like, it's just wrong. And I'm not teaching my kids that. I don't resent my parents for that. That's the way the world is. I have resented my parents a little bit. I will be honest. Like, my brother dying, he has always said that, like, he was severely abused while we were growing up. And, we'd have kind of the same friend group, a little bit different, but I'd be like, my brother's a liar. We were not beaten when we were growing up. Like, I don't know. He's just crazy, like mentally unstable. And people will tell you he had bipolar and possibly borderline personality disorder, professionals. But whatever. To me, all of that stuff is a lack and a detachment from our actual selves. And with my brother trying to seek himself and be honest with himself, and then he hears me and our family and everybody in the world being like, you're crazy, you're lying, that's not true. Yeah, why wouldn't he, act like that? It makes perfect sense. And it bums me out because through him dying, I've realized, not through him dying, but after his death and all of it, I have realized, yeah, in a sense, we were abused growing up. Because maybe not physically me, I believe, there were his own things that I just didn't know about. But like, being told you're always wrong and you need to do it this way, and not ever being told, like, believe in yourself. What's going on in here? These are your choices to make, not the parent's choice. Yeah, if it's immediate danger, then come on, step in. I'm not saying that. But we need to empower our kids. Treat them to believe in themselves. Look, Colton, I know that you want to do that right now. Mommy thinks, maybe it's not the best idea, but it's up to you. Like, something, I don't know, I haven't perfected it by any means. I'm still stumbling. As of March, I don't know, I like to say March 18th is the day I started a weekend, I don't even know what to call it. It was like an online retreat, if you will, spiritual thing. And because I wanted to die, but I didn't want to die. Like, I have 2 kids who need me. I also lost my fiance, April 14th, 2020, right after I lost my brother. And at the time, they both were very significant to my life. They were my people that I talked to. Besides that, I didn't talk to anyone. So during COVID, everyone's like, oh, we're all isolated and this is a bummer. And I'm like, hey, I'm over here. This is my life. Even before COVID, I isolate. That's what I do as an addict. Like, I guess not all addicts do that, but like me, I believe I'm so deeply spiritual, and like the spiritual person, the authentic me inside of me is fighting so hard to come out that, like, I would not indulge in addictive friends and worsening situations. I would just stay home and ruin myself, thinking I wasn't doing any harm to anyone. But that's not the case at all. Harming me harms a lot of people, harms my friends and my family, and a lot more than just me. So I was miserable, and I'm someone who doesn't like misery. And I just kind of realized, like, I thought that, like, I'll never get out of this funk. After they died, I was just kind of like, I'm sad, man, and I'll never get happy again. I'll never get over this, and I'll never get through it. And, I'd heard of the law of attraction before and all that jazzy things, and I did a lot of that stuff. But when you're an addict and you beat yourself up and you get into these patterns of, I did that, so I'm a bad person, and you get so in the patterns of your brain and the neurotransmitters, and they're just used to that. So the last couple of years, I have retrained my brain to do that stuff. And after having done a lot of work to try to get out of it, I don't know. So I just do what I need to do now. That was silly to say. But basically what I did was re-engaged myself, threw myself into all the positive stuff. I don't want to be this way anymore. And I found an online program that kind of helps me with my goals and my thoughts. No, just mainly my goals is what I thought. It was going to help me with my goals and get my life straightened out. What do I want to do? Like, what's my purpose? How can I reach a goal? Because I feel that school did not teach me that. And that's a huge passion of mine. Putting valuable things into school systems that could actually be really used for the rest of your life. Not, this is what happened on 1876, and as a result, this is where we are. And I have found out a lot of it's lies and BS anyways. Like, that's not the truth. And so that led me to not really have faith and trust in our government. And I just had so much fear. Fear was running my life the last 2 years. When my brother and my fiance died, I literally felt so scared. Before that, I was independent. I didn't live with my fiance. I lived on my own because of past hurts and relationships. I had so much fear about just him living with me and what that might do. And just, that's why I say, Even before that, I was letting my fear run me. And I say I was independent because I wasn't independent. I just controlled my life the way that made me feel comfortable and independent. But I was so interdependent. Actually, it was codependent. Interdependence is good, I believe. I don't know. I'll have to look more into the word, but words are just words. You put your own meanings to everything. Um, so, yeah, fear has driven my life. There was a time where I was in flow state, and I was very happy when I was about 21 and I had first gotten into recovery the first time ever. And like, I was just letting it out. I was like, people are like, why are you here? You got to be honest about why you're here. And most people are like, I don't want to use drugs. I don't want to use alcohol. I was like, I want to fucking figure out who I am and be my authentic self. And when I would say that, people would be like, oh, that's bullshit. You know, whatever, you're just saying that. And it's like, no, I've really felt that my whole life. I want to find out who I am on the inside. Like, I've pretended to be someone in front of my dad who was never me. It was so weird. And then my mom would almost resent me, and she'd be like, well, why do you give me so much slack? Why do you, give me a hard time? Why do you talk back? Why do you stand up for yourself and not around your dad? And they're divorced, by the way. And I would just be like, Mom, I wouldn't be upset about that. Like that, I'm being my true self. I'm comfortable, able to express myself safely and freely with you. I just wasn't with my dad. And even still, there's things that I definitely, it's funny because as a teenager, I let it out. I let it all out to my mom. And she would be like, oh, that hurts. And da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm just being me. And yeah, sometimes it was a little bit much. But when I look back, I believe I was being me and not really worrying about it. But now that I'm older and I've learned how much my simple words can hurt others, I kind of took that on and was like, wow, I'm hurting so many people and not even meaning to. And now I'm realizing, older and getting into my authentic self, my mom is very sensitive. And I say that she's sensitive because I believe she has things from her past she hasn't dealt with. So when I say something that's ringing true for me, and I'm saying in a nice and kind way, or I observe something and I'm her daughter or her friend, and I believe that it needs to be said in honesty, because I believe that's what we need to have true friends. Get vulnerable, open up, be honest with your friends if you see something that's not in their best interest. With that, there's always ways to say it, grace. There are definitely times you don't say something. It's just feeling it all out, feeling it out within you. I've been told my whole life and in recovery programs that you don't know any better. You've been living the wrong way for so long. You need to listen to somebody else. And yes, there's some truth to that. But at the same time, there's a voice in me that knows what I need. Nobody else knows but me. So, like, yes, these people in the beginning that I listened to about certain things were definitely good. But at the same time, I think as who I am as a person, I would think way too much into those people. And if that's what they're doing to be where they're at, I'm going to do exactly what they did because I want to get there. And, no, everybody's different. So even if you do the exact things that person does, I just believe you probably won't get the same exact outcome because we all have our own subconscious. So no matter what we're doing in like being conscious about what we're doing, and no matter like our actions and thoughts and this stuff, we still have a subconscious that has pain and limiting beliefs, which I like to call meanings. That is how somebody said it for me to understand really well. Excuse me, I have a cold. But it's okay. I'm getting better today. That's me. That's part of my authentic me. I'm silly. Very silly. So I appreciate others who spread their message and be kind of silly in themselves too. I don't know. I guess this introduction video is just going to be a long one. So hang up for the ride if you're ready. I have a lot of knowledge and wisdom. I've been 10 years in in recovery. For me, it's been in recovery. I don't care what people say. Just because I've relapsed here and there and haven't stayed consecutively, this is my recovery. Guess what? When I get a migraine, I'm still going to have a little bit of weed to take care of that migraine because that's the medicine that works the best for me. I have tried so many pills and they don't work like weed does. So for me, in my life, that's what I'm going to do. As of March 10th and before, I smoked every single day, all day. That did not help me. That induced more anxiety and fear and all these things. I'm not saying that's not your journey, and I'm not saying that doesn't help you, because maybe it does. But for me, I had a voice inside saying, look, Amy, if you want to get where you want to be, and if you want to be your authentic self, it's not through weed all day, every day. That was a way to help me get through as my coping mechanism. So if you're not ready to be you and deal with what comes with that, sure. Then I suggest weed because it's fucking not so harmful, in my opinion. I've been doing it since I was 20. I got a medical marijuana prescription. So I guess I was doing it before that, but, really had my medical marijuana prescription at 20 years old, and they don't even like to give it to people that young, but I had PTSD and migraines, and anywho, that's a whole nother thing. But I'm just saying, let's not beat ourselves up because what we think about, we bring about. And if I'm like, oh, you're so naughty, you had a migraine and so you fixed it. Like, what? I'm not going to feel bad about that just because I used something that other people believe to be wrong. I don't believe that. I believe I'm going to use it for what I need it for. Kind of like, things like peyote or ayahuasca and stuff like that are drugs to some people and medicine to others. I've not gone down that road, even though it's something I have been looking into, because these people that I see that have done it have helped them. It's helped them, and they're on the same journey that I'm on. They're, I don't know. So yeah, I'm just looking into it. I'm open to things today. I don't want to die. I want to live. I'm excited for life. I still have weird feelings and get grouchy and do all the normal human things. But today I don't, it's not as extreme. I'm more aware of it sooner. And with awareness, you can fix anything. So something that I feel is truly kind of, it's all of it all at once at this divine time, if you will, and divine synchronicity, there we go, synchronicity, all the things all at once in my universe, but also doing the work. Like I was seeking out how I can get better, and I found resources online. So I had this meaning behind the internet and technology, and it was like, it's all bad. We're going to the wrong direction. We need to go more within ourselves in nature. And how can that help the world? This is not the right direction. And that was fear-based because I had emotions that overcame me and I lashed out on the internet. And I don't like when I do that. I don't like hurting others because of my own pain. That is something that I really am not fond of. And after losing the two people that meant a lot to me at the time, maybe the most to me at the time besides my kids, as far as support goes and on my peer level, they were there for me. They were my people. And losing them, a lot of, if you will, unfair things happened through losing my fiance. His family did things that I didn't think were right. Things for his child, our child, my fiance and me have a child. And he was 17 months when his dad died. And so there were a lot of things that the family did with his own belongings and things that were like, I didn't agree. But yeah, I was too scared and too hurt and too much pain and all the stuff from my past that like, I couldn't just speak my truth. Like, what are you guys doing? This isn't right. And stick up for my child, if you will. And, I would pack it down. and then I'd find something out on Facebook, and I'd fucking lose it. Like, lose all of it. Just fly off the handle about or not all the things, but just the thing that happened on Facebook, but it would come out from all the energy that I had pent up would come out in that direction. And it wasn't at the one thing. His brother getting his truck. He used his truck right after he died because he didn't have his license. And if he used his brother's truck, his brother, was legal. And it got crashed, and now it's not here. It was a Toyota Tacoma, and I wanted that truck set aside for his son. Either my son or he has another son. Either one. I don't even care. But I believed that those things should have been for his kids, not for other people's selfish uses. Anyways, it is what it is. And I accept it now. There was a time where when I brought that up, I would bawl my eyes out. And it was because of the attachment behind the truck. It wasn't anything to do with the vehicle. It had to do with I lost a piece of him that day. And as I say that, it makes me want to cry. So there's more to unpack there, I guess. I just lost a piece of him with his truck because we had a lot of memories in that truck and, just things behind it. But it's okay. I'm going to cry right here if that's what I need to do. I'm going to feel it because every time I feel it, it lightens my load and it makes room for new, good, pure light. So that's kind of how you can get attached to just things. I laugh because there's so many other things that I'm attached to, have meaning behind the things. I believe it's okay. It's all right. But just be honest about it with others is what I've learned. Not to hold that in. And it's not easy. It's a process. I have not in my life up to this point. I am trying to be positive. So I almost said, I'm trying not to use those words. Always, never, should. Certain words I'm trying not to use because it's not the best for my mental being, my thoughts and my brain and that's all connected to my emotions and my body and my health, my physical body. Definitely. And so I was going to say, I am saying, in my past, I was not into a pattern of expressing my thoughts and expressing my view on things and what I felt was true within me. I would bite my tongue because I was scared of confrontation and, well, what if they don't like me? They won't accept me after that and all this stuff. And it's silly because I would be honest about an outfit that you wore if I didn't like it. And I would be honest about something about you, but if it were something that had to do with so I don't care if I hurt your feelings that way. And people didn't turn me down for that, even though it was hurtful. So, but I couldn't express my inner me because what if they don't like me? And what if I put myself out there and then it's not good and people don't like me and all this stuff? But who cares? I'm at a point where I'm dancing wherever I want to dance, singing, saying what I want. And if someone doesn't like it, it's theirs. It's theirs. Unless, I cross a line and then I almost always know because I get a pang in my stomach and it's you're mean. And it's sometimes I get that pang. No, I don't know. I can't even know yet. I was going to say sometimes I get that pang when I'm myself speaking my truth, but that's not true. I don't get that pang. That was a good one. Ew, I just wiped the booger back on my face. But I don't get that pang when I'm speaking my truth. So there's some more awareness. If I start heading down a road and then I get a pang, maybe that's not my true me and that's my ego. Yeah, so look, as I express myself, I find more out about myself as I go, which is the same with writing. The more I write, it's almost like it accesses a whole nother part of my brain, which I'd be curious to do studies on. I have short hair underneath my long hair. So if I sleep on it a certain way, it'll start acting crazy. I had all this shaved off, all of it shaved right to the skin, like a bald guy. And yeah, I pretty much wore my hair up all the time. I didn't care about what was going on. I don't care what you think of me. I I want to say I don't care what you think of me, though there's a piece of me that does care, right? Um, I want to portray myself as like I say I care what you think of me in a sense of like I care what I put out in the world. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be a hood rat and bash others and say Will Smith, how could you punch that guy? And Chris Rock. I will say Chris Rock, I'm not a fan of him, saying hurtful things to others. That's not a belief of mine. I'm not going to say something hurtful about someone else because I can get laughs about it and I can benefit from their pain. Not cool. Not cool at all. With that, Will Smith is someone who I believe is connected within himself from what I've read, and maybe in the moment he'd had a rough few days, or maybe he's had a rough month or couple of years. We all ebb and flow. We all have our moments, where we're doing our best and not living within our most enlightened, if you will, whatever the hell that is. So yeah, maybe COVID's been hard. The isolation's been hard on his family and him specifically, and maybe he acted with a knee-jerk reaction, and he's not so proud of that. Like, give him a break, people. He has done amazing things with his life and himself. Like, he's someone who's helped me. I read his autobiography, and, he is so inspirational. So, as far as Chris Rock, I've not seen anything inspirational from him. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I believe we are all good people inside. I like Chris Rock. He's funny. He does good work. But at the same time, not a fan of anybody who's going to demean anybody else for their own gain. Not cool with me. Not something I want to do or anywhere I want to go. So I think if I had an opportunity to be friends with Chris Rock or Will Smith, who knows what I would do. But I can say, I'd be like, man, I don't want to be friends with you because I don't believe in this. This doesn't feel right for me. And go from there. Maybe there's more to it and maybe he's got something behind him. Who knows? Either way, not a fan. Maybe he's a good person. We would be friends. And then I'd be like, better yourself. But what I'm trying to say is I want to go with people who own up to their mistakes. I want people in my life who can say, look, I did that and I'm very sorry. Like, say I got punched in the face by Will Smith. I would appreciate it if he said, look, not right after. I would not expect anybody to compose themselves right after and apologize right after it happened. That's not how it usually works. We usually need to sit back, calm down, reflect within ourselves, not be in a room full of other people and be like, I'm disappointed you didn't apologize right then. No, that's not going to happen. Come on. But I will say, the person I believe Will Smith is, from the words I've read out of his mouth and what he's gone through his journey as a person and a human being, I believe he will look inside and apologize and say, look, Chris Rock, I was out of line. I shouldn't have touched you, but I do believe you weren't nice. That's not cool. She's my wife and I love her, and not just her, anybody. That's how I feel. So I'm just saying, Will Smith and I will probably be friends after he punched me in the face because none of us are fucking perfect. And how many times have you done something to somebody that you love and care about, or somebody that you don't really know that wasn't your best decision? So let's give people in the media eye a break. Come on. Can we evolve already, people? I don't know. That's been on my mind because I watched some stuff about it this morning and everyone's so just dissing Will. And it's like a knee-jerk reaction happened. That's what came out of it. So put you in the same situation and see how you react, because Will Smith, in my opinion, is in touch with somewhere inside of himself and he tries to do what is best most times. But guess what? He's in a human body and he's human too, as we all are. And that's what I try to remind myself of, is I am human. I am safe on this earth. It's okay to do these things. This is humanity. Yeah, I'm a spiritual being and I have a soul and a spirit within me. It's not always able to come out the best around this world, right? So I don't know. These are some things that I'll be talking about I've got specific direction on motivation and like the initial point of what it took me on that day to, it was kind of ahead of time. I guess that's what I wanted to share is like the days leading up to this virtual retreat is what I'm calling it. um, I kept getting emails and stuff that gave me suggestions on what to do so you can make this retreat better for you. And it was about like hiring your intentions and like saying your intention now and kind of meditating on that. And my intention was to transform, a total transformation through this workshop and tuning into the energy. I've done so much mindfulness meditation, so much over my last 10 years, and I have not gotten the results of what I've gotten from this virtual retreat. Certain tools, tips, and tricks that are amazing, that mindfulness didn't bring me in that moment. The breath work, Wim Hof, breathing, I just did it before I did this. It gave me the strength to make this video. This and also watching a video about how to get successful on YouTube, how to make money, how to do it. Just do it. You just start by making videos because your first ones are going to be cringy and you're going to get better at it. But that's the only way to do it is to just start doing it, I'm told. So guess what? The other stuff worked for me. I'm going to try this to see if this works for me. So you will see a lot of different videos coming out from me. They might not be what you want them to be. They're going to vary. But guess what? It's me starting out and getting a start on all this stuff because this is what I've wanted to do for a couple of years now. I actually haven't necessarily wanted to do the spiritual side of it, but I've had like homeschooling things and starting a YouTube channel, period, because I love to talk. I have a way with being able to spread knowledge to people, being a teacher, if you will. And I have a passion behind the things that I believe in that get people pumped. Let's get people pumped. And like, I don't know, I don't mean to. It's just where my love and power and intensity comes from. I feel it and I want you to have some too. God love you if you stuck it out this long. I don't know. Whatever. This is my new channel. So welcome as I'm making this video. I don't know what I'm going to call it. It'll come to me. It's all good in the hood. Peace, love, chicken grease.